Okay. Welcome, Julia.
Circular motion of the stars, but they pass by themselves and they don't even notice. In the womb, miracles happening every moment. Here you are at 5 months in the womb. You remember those days? Those were the good old days.
So that's pretty awesome. And to be real serious for a second, in 2 weeks, as a state, the state of Ohio is going to vote. And if we don't pray that most of the people that are voting in the state of Ohio don't vote no, we as a people are going to put our approval on people legally tearing that obvious baby to pieces. Unless they choose to dissolve the baby. I think at this point they'd have to tear it to pieces. Him or her. Yes.
You know, like which way we're leaning?
Well, it doesn't seem. I mean, I think, in my humanness, that they're going to win. I think only somehow that we pray that there's enough people that will take it seriously enough, because people are so involved in their own lives that it's hard to wake people up. I think more people are waking up. I'm praying that just enough to, yeah.
I heard a thing also regarding if people who are having a miscarriage can get like medical.
Yeah, what about it? Well, because that's got nothing to do with it other than trying to scare people into thinking that the mean, evil Christians are trying to steal all of your rights and make you deliver the miscarriages are a totally different thing. Life of the mother very seldom happens, is not involved in the idea of right to life. I mean, obviously, if there's a, right, that's what I'm saying. I told you last month, it's going to ramp up and you're going to be getting all these, bombarded with all these messages and all these lies, just same things that's happening with Israel and Palestine. You're going to be propagandized so badly, and they're going to try to appeal, especially, what do these people call Christians that go along with their evil? Useful idiots. And they can't wait to get a hold of your minds and your hearts to get you to believe the lies, and especially your hearts. Just like the video we just saw with Carl Sagan. So romanticizing this idea that all there is the cosmos and all there ever will be. You know what I'm saying? And so I've heard a couple of them over the weekend. These people that are going on there. And if we let these evil, I mean, think about it. Christians who are only trying to save the life of babies in their mother's womb, the safest place there should be on the earth. And then also a part of the bill is, hey, you're 13 and someone is so incredibly indoctrinated you in this time of your life when you're so confused and puberty's about to take place, and they're, you maybe feel like a misfit. I don't know what your deal is in life, but we can convince you that we're going to chemically alter your very being, whether you're a male or a female. That's in there. And you don't have to tell. You can do this without your parents knowing. Because what rights should parents have to, quote unquote, destroy the life of this 13-year-old who is so mentally been abused or whatever that they're gonna make a decision that no longer are they think they can anyway chemically change their body from a male to a female. So we're going to chemically castrate young boys. We're going to do mastectomies on young girls at 13, 14 without their parents' notification. But we're the evil ones because, I don't know, because you make up a story that we're going to make it so that if there's an ectopic pregnancy that, oh no, you can't have you can't go through a procedure that takes care of a fertilization that happens outside the uterus, that's a lie. Yeah, yeah,
Mr. Frank?
yeah.
That also encompasses underage children having relations with adults too, because it takes away
Oh, right.
the ability for the
Right.
parent to say no, so it
Right.
kind of abolishes
Like,
statutory rape.
right. You think that this stuff isn't real, but this has been happening incrementally for a long time. The idea that, 18 is the age of accountability. Well, there are professors at colleges, I can show you if I had time, that think that 12 should be the age of accountability. Why should you have to wait till 18? I mean, some 16-year-olds are mature. They can make a decision to be in a relationship with a 28-year-old. And if it's a young man with a woman, man, doesn't matter. It's their choice. They're old enough at 16. Oh no, what about 12? This is the evil we're up against, and this is why we're so vehement about teaching it and getting you ready for it, or you will fall victim to it. Especially those of you that really, you have these tender hearts and you love people and you just want everybody to be happy. You're the so ripe for the picking for these people that can't wait to get their proverbial hands on your hearts and minds, because you are to them seriously useful idiots. Not my terms, theirs. Because they can get you to go along with their worldview. And they know it by putting out these lies and making you feel bad. And that's why we emphasize so much. Listen, I'm just like everybody else. I feel deeply. I cry easily. But you have to think. What are the consequences of the things that make us feel so strongly if we just acted on those things? Julian Huxley, another paragon of secularism, says it's essential for evolution to become the central core of any educational system. Evolution has to be the central core of any educational system. And by the way, it's not just biological evolution. I mean, they're going to teach that as if it's fact, not just a theory. But biological Darwinism makes its way into the social sciences, and there's something called social Darwinism. Listen, if Darwinism's based on this idea of survival of the fittest, right? You've heard that term before. And if you really believe that and you buy into it like they do, well, then it's incumbent on us as a society to fix that. There's nothing we can do about the natural way of things as far as biology. Some people are going to be endowed with, some people are going to be gifted with better physical abilities. So society has to be about mitigating that. And how do we do that? It's a little bit confusing because we as Christians don't want to live in this social Darwin world where survival of the fittest, right? But that's what they believe. So what programs might come from that? That belief that we as the humans then, we have to take this natural event called survival of the fittest, right? And we've got to mitigate it, fix it, put in programs to make it so those that aren't blessed as much become more equal. So we get all these egalitarian ideas that as a society, that's our first and foremost job, is to make sure that those that have lesser are made more equal than those that have more. Well, how do you go about that? And how much resources are going to be used up by trying to make sure that those down here get more equal to those that are up here, and then we're not really feeding. Are we really feeding as a society those that are up here? And is that going to lead to long-term success as a people, as a society? How much are we neglecting how successful we could be, even in their eyes, if all of our resources are used to try to make sure that because you believe in survival of the fittest, that we've got to We gotta fix that. We gotta put in all these programs to make sure that everybody's more equal. So we all share in the misery. Questions, comments? I told you, I think last week about this. It was 30 years ago, the history professor. Did I tell you guys this? That he was so mad, he was like right in the middle of class. He didn't care who he was offending. Did I tell you this last week? Anybody? Nod of the head. Did I tell you last week about the history professor 30 years ago? That right in the middle of class, there must have been a test we just took. This is at YSU. And he's like blasting, like just out in the open, the whole educational system. And there's people sitting in the room probably that are like offended that he's got to dumb down everything that he's taught for all the years that he was teaching before that, because now everybody goes to college. You're like, well, isn't that a good thing? Everybody gets to go to college? No, in his mind it wasn't, because here he had this way of teaching that he was taking the best of the best in high school, and they're going to college, and these are the people that, and now, so he can't teach that way anymore, because now he's got to take the person that gets C's and D's in high school. Everything's remedial now. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just saying that there's that aspect of what we're doing as a society. So then what we end up with in government is what? Do we have the best and brightest running our government a generation or two later? What's taught in the schoolhouse in one generation will be in the White House in the next. Well, what have we taught the last two generations? And what do we have? And in this case, it's like, it's not even funny. Like, we can always make fun of whoever's in the White House, right? I mean, whatever political side you're on, you can throw jabs at, this person, that. No, I mean, come on. You have to really, really, really stretch your idea of partisanship or whatever to not open your eyes and ears and see what's in the White House right now. I don't care what your political beliefs are. You're lying if you're on the left, and you're not embarrassed. So this is the mediocrity you get. And we wonder why is America once America in the exceptionalism? How exceptional are we anymore? Evolution's got to be at the core, according to them, of all education. By the way, we learned last year, these people that are science is everything, right? Hey, it doesn't matter if you can't explain scientifically how you get life from non-life. Doesn't matter. And this is where we're going, this is why we say this is a religion. Secular humanism is a religion. What are they going by? What faith? I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. What faith leads someone to believe that you get life from non-life? But it's their sacred doctrine. That somehow we get life from non-life. You and I are here by some, I don't know, I guess they believe in magic. They don't believe in anything except materialism. How do they believe that you got life from non-life? It's impossible. Doesn't matter. Because as long as they're able to spread their gospel of that there is no God, according to them, then that's all it needs to happen. They need to defeat the Christian worldview in the public arena, period. And it doesn't matter if they go against their own philosophies and their own belief system, as long as Christianity takes a back seat. So hopefully if you weren't emboldened last year, hopefully by the time you graduate, you are not leaving this place, Landon, as someone that is lesser than intellectually than the place that you're going if you're going on to higher education. You are not the lesser than. You are greater than. By the way, speaking of magic, so I'm watching Game Day Saturday. Anybody ever heard of Oz the Mentalist? It looks like Oz. Anybody ever hear of that guy? Oz the Mentalist? You heard of him? What's that? Not Dr. Oz. No, this guy was, he goes to other colleges. They showed him with the team up north, and then they had him on the thing live. That It's not like reading people's minds, like, look at me. It'd be one thing if he could like read someone's mind, but he was like doing it before the event even happens. So, like for instance, on Saturday it was, he had, who's the guy from, Barstool? The guy who's on game. What's his name?
Portnoy? Forrest?
McAfee.
Not Forrest.
Not Barstool, what was he? Wasn't he originally on?
He just has his own show.
Oh. So, Pat McAfee says, okay, he has a deck of cards, he says, imagine you're taking a card. So he doesn't actually pick a card out of the deck, right? He stands there holding it, and this guy goes, what card are you imaginarily holding? And he picks the red card. And then, they showed him when he was up, with a team up north, the whole room, they're like at least 80 players, probably close to 100, right? In the big meeting room, that they all meet as a team. And he tells Coach Harbaugh, just randomly pick 4 guys. He doesn't know who they're going to be, just randomly pick 4 guys. So Harbaugh picks 4 guys. They all go up to the front of the room. He takes this thing he's got rolled up, and he unveils it, and he's got the number of all the players that are part of this. And they all claim that there's no foreign knowledge that he any of that. You ever heard of him? OZ, the Mentalist. What else did he do yesterday live? Oh, he told Herb Street. He said, imagine you're in a room, you got all these famous athletes, there's this big meeting, you're seeing people, some of you've seen before, some you've met before, some you haven't, and this guy comes up to you and he says, hey, and shakes your hand. Who is it? Of all the people that Herb Street has known for his whole career, all these people he's run into, he says, one of them comes up and shakes your hand. Who is it? Herb Street said, Deion Sanders. You see it? So he holds up this paper, and it's got all the names of the people that are on the name day, Reese, Kurt, whatever. And he takes away all the other letters and right down the middle it spells Tom. Weird. Then that wasn't bad enough. He takes a football and he cuts the football open, and guess whose picture is inside the football? Deion Sanders. Like, how did he know that Herb Street, whatever day he decided to get ready for this show, was going to choose that name out of all the names? Like, you could say, well, he had a better chance because it's, you know, crime's like big in the news today, but still, there's a lot of people big in the news today. He should. Who's the Mentalist? Anyway, it was crazy. That was general revelation. What about special? Whoops. Yeah, what are you guys talking about? Here's a list of some people you should be on the lookout for. They're sources of truth. Of course, Christ is not going to be on there, but Charles Darwin is. You already knew Charles Darwin? How about this guy, Friedrich Nietzsche? Some of you have, some of you hadn't. Maybe now you know how to spell it.
What does that mean?
Very influential, early 1900s. What we would consider the, not postmodern, but modern era. Attacking the validity of traditional morality. You know, we learned about the moral law written on everyone's heart. Every person has the moral law written on their heart, whether they believe it or not, or they're Christian or not. Well, Nietzsche, of course, attacks that, the validity of that teaching. That you're all your own, you know, your own, lords of your own destiny, or whatever. Anybody ever hear of him before today?
I mean, it rings a bell,
Anybody?
to be honest.
No one? Yes? These are the people that inform the atheists. Sigmund Freud, you probably heard of him, right? Did a lot of psychoanalysis, unlocking the unconscious mind. And it's not on the screen, but of course, anybody know what Freud's known for? That everything unconsciously is about what? 3-letter word? Sex. Very, yeah, very sexually oriented, and doing his psychoanalyses that, did a lot of research supposedly about how, we are sexual beings after all, people, if that's news to you, and how sex determines a lot with our unconscious mind. Of course, that sometimes reveals itself in the conscious area. Does a lot of, like, even for boys and girls, the relationship to the father, how that affects your development unconsciously, and then reveals itself in your behavior. At least he acknowledged that the father was the central authority, yeah.
You know where California, PA is?
It's a little bit southeast of here. Why? Who's going there?
Duncan Moy.
Duncan Moy.
Oh, really?
He's
The Vulcan.
Well, I've never been there, but I'm thinking like Washington, PA area, down in there, where the old
He said California and then in parentheses.
Pony League World Series. I think it's down towards there.
California Vulcans.
John Dewey, we've brought this guy up before. Socialization and secularization. So, we talked about him before as being like the father of modern education, this John Dewey guy, and getting us away from, again, the Christian, traditional Christian view of educating children, that, we need to concentrate more on socializing our children into a secular worldview. That's more important than teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic. Couple more. Again, of course, Christ will not be on here as their source of knowledge. Bertrand Russell wrote a manifesto, so to speak, why I am not a Christian. Because he's so smart. Paul Kurtz authored the Humanist Manifesto that he got all these other supposedly intellectual giants to sign in 1973. So that would be Humanist Manifesto Part 2. And most of you have heard of Richard Dawkins. Speaking of DNA, there's nothing special about it. We are just DNA machines. Again, life from non-life. How did this DNA come to be? No explanation needed. Just that there was no God is the only thing you need to know. Is there one more? And Christopher Hitchens. Prominent atheist, journalist, author, debater. So, has been in many debates. If you go online, you can see debates among prominent Christians and someone like Christopher Hitchens.
Are these all the manifestos?
Frank Turek, probably. He did, yeah. You know what, Rachel? I'm thinking about doing that I didn't do the first few years. I think I'm going to make a crossword puzzle for secularism. So, I saw for the longest time, I wasn't watching, but I was peeking in and seeing the scroll. Auburn 14-14, like the whole game. What happened?
They had less passing yards in the Browns in the first half.
Really? And then Rocky Top, what happened there? Tennessee was winning like 20-7.
Young D1. Who?
Tennessee.
Tennessee lost. Oh, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, they were winning 27 at halftime. They gave up like 27 straight.
Young D1. Let's make it happen. WVU. I'm looking at this. WVU can make a close up. I've been saying that. Insane.
understand what I'm saying? You know that this is the way of the world, right? Huh?
Well, okay, I don't hear. My question is just like I think some courts are their side, but
Well, sure it is.
is there a point where you shouldn't be like?
That would be one.
I started listening to this podcast and it's called the Atheist Bible Study, and they take like
Yeah, go ahead.
they take like passages from the Bible and try to disprove them.
I'm sure.
Is that good to listen to?
Well, okay, so you want to know the other side, and that's why we take this class, right? So when you say is that good to listen to, I told you at the beginning, it's a little scary because when we do this,
You're
you are,
You're retired.
this is the prayer and the hope, that you're availing yourself to all this information that may be new to you because you've been in this Christian community, right? But it's what's out there in the world that is going to try to capture your heart and mind. And you have a beautiful heart and you want to learn, right? So you are like target number one to be able to capture you because you are a person that's very smart and got a big heart. So you can be easily swayed to their thinking. So, but you understand how scary it is because, like I said, you could walk into an anthropology class and after 15 minutes walk out like, oh. See? So my prayers are that's the next one. It's scary.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, he just went off to the military.
Excuse me?
Well, you know that.
No, he didn't. It couldn't happen that fast. He didn't have a date.
I mean, not like, well, he's going to like the camp or whatever and all that, and with his parents, he just, I mean, no, he's gone from Ohio today.
It was only a few weeks ago I asked Mike, you know,
Yeah, no, he went. Yeah, no, I mean, he went with his parents today. You can text him. Because I saw him, because Gio came back for break to see everybody, and whatever, I saw Klinger and stuff, and he was like, yeah, 3 days till I go off. And I was like, wow. Yeah, no, he's up. I don't know if he's on his way or if he's there, but he's at the fort or whatever. You know? For like basic and all that. And yeah. Yeah, because Max just was telling me about how he said his goodbyes today. Yeah. Some prayers up for him. It's not crazy though that he's like heading off.
he's actually doing it.
Yeah.
You know what his goal is, right? You know what his ultimate goal is?
What do
To
you?
kill as many Muslims as possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what my answer was in my head, but I wasn't sure if you're gonna say the same thing. Yeah, that's like all he's talking about. That's so bad. I think he actually
Well, you know
has
what?
good
In
intentions.
a
of being
distorted
there, though.
way, I mean, we have to have people that are willing
No, we
to do
need
that.
people to go. Also, I think he like genuinely wants to go there for good reason. Like not just, oh screw it, like I'm not going to college, so I'm gonna go to the military. I mean, he's taking it seriously. He's been
Mhm.
training and stuff. He can run like a 13-minute 2-mile.
Did he
So, yeah, I mean, no, he's taking it very seriously.
It's good that he didn't get totally destroyed.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know. He said it was never the same. I thought that. I wondered. I asked him if like that was like a worry of his that he'd get waived for, but he didn't. He said it's not the same, but he didn't get waived for it. So isn't that surprising? Because I mean, it had just
Well,
healed.
I'm glad
before
it didn't happen since I let him participate in the senior game.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, we're all good.
Yeah.
He just
Not
didn't.
surprised.
He just didn't think it was right. Yeah, it's one of those heart things that's like, I mean, kid wants to play baseball so like just to stand out there and do it one more time.
Yeah.
Got taken away from him.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I don't mind right being passed.
Dude.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about the clean thing. I got
Where you
that.
headed?
I could have got that done, but I was like, I wonder if Mrs. Franken knows. Like, I'm literally head out today. Said we can like call him after a while.
How
Or
much-
be like in there.
Does Max communicate with this kid?
With Jake?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like too much. Oh, really?
What is going on?
Wow. He's gonna be on like the front line. Uh, 10. Thank you.
Yes, sir.